guys, it is Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. Got a classic for you today. We're going to learn how to play Penny Lane by the Beatles. So obviously not a lot of guitar in this song. It's mostly piano and, I don't know, what is that? Like a jazz band? I don't know what's playing with them. But we're going to do those chords on the guitar. So it's going to make it a little bit difficult. It moves around quite a bit, especially if you want to do the bass line, those classic McCartney bass lines there. You can simplify it a little bit not playing the bass line though. So I'll kind of show you both ways. But you're going to need to play a bunch of bar chords regardless. Alright, so we are in standard tuning here. So please, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and ring that little bell, notification bell too, so you'll know whenever I release a new video lesson. Alright, so let's get to it here. We're going to start here in B, with a B major chord. Now, the way I usually play this chord is actually I do the bar with my pinky, which I know is a horrifying prospect to some people, but it actually makes that bass line possible to play in this. So you might, if you're not used to doing that, try to do that, or you can bar with your third finger and try to, kind of do some big stretches to get the bass line. So we're going to start with the B major chord. So that's just a bar here across the B, G, and the D string at the 4th fret with the 2nd fret on the A string. So if you're playing that with your third finger here, which is probably more common, you would play that chord and you're going to keep these 3 notes on top while moving this in the bass. So we start with the 2nd fret on the, so it's a regular B chord, and then you're going to take the 1st finger down to the 1st fret. So that's kind of a stretch. It's easier if you have the pinky doing the bar. And then you just drop the 1st finger back. And then I go over, if you're holding this finger with this finger, you then go to the 2nd finger can play, or the middle finger can play the 4th fret on the low E underneath that chord. And then the 2nd fret. So this. Or with the pinky. Then we're going to jump up to a C sharp minor chord, but it still has a moving bass line under it. So what we're going to do first, I'm going to play this E here. So we have the 7th fret there on the A string, 6 on the D and the G, and then 5 on the B. And then back to a regular C sharp minor chord. It was basically the same notes, you just move that 7th fret down to 4. So you're going to have to adjust the rest of the fingers. So it's 4th fret here on the A, 6 on the D and G, and 5 on the B. So we have so you want that bass line to really come out. And then we will go to a F sharp sus4 chord. So that's a full bar at the 2nd fret, and then you can play the 4th fret on the A, D, and the G. And then resolve that down to a regular F. Now, you can make that the top note and not really worry about these, and you don't really have to do a bar at that point if you really want this note to come out. So we have this, and this 4th fret on the G string then resolves down to the 3rd fret. So we have this. So all together. Then you go back through that same B bass line. And then we're going to get to the Alright, so that takes it to a B minor instead of a B major. And this part's got a moving bass line too, but it's a lot easier to play. So we just have this B minor here, 2nd fret on the A, 4th on the D and the G, and 3rd on the B. You can just play those 4 little strings. You see how I'm kind of hitting it by just strumming it and then releasing the pressure to kind of give it that kind of rhythmic sound. And then what we're going to do is basically move the bass line to this note, to the 4th fret there on the low E. Because of that, so you have to lift up your 2nd finger and move it there to the 4th fret of low E. you're gonna place that note, just replace it with your index finger. So once again, we're gonna take this bass line down to G and still hold the same 3 notes on top, but we're gonna have to, once again, when this index finger is gonna hold the low note, and then the second finger will hold the 3rd fret on the B. So we have this. And then we're going to go back to that F sharp to F major, the sus4 to the major transition. And then we're back through the whole riff. Minor. And then after playing through that the second time, moving to the chorus, it does this. Alright, so what I'm doing there is just starts with that same sus4 to major, but instead of doing it twice now, you're going to go jump to an E major chord. And the bass line goes like there. So in order to do that, we're going to just keep holding, let's just hold a regular E major chord and just start the strum from the 4th string, then the 5th, and then all of them. And then there's a pause and it goes to the chorus. So now, if you want a simplified version of this, don't play the bass lines. Just play the B. So it's just a B major to C sharp minor to F sharp major. Then B minor. And then this part's pretty easy. There's no big bars and nothing's really jump around. It's just all that moving bass line stuff can get kind of hairy. So if you just want to skip it, still sounds fine without it. Sounds better with it though. All right, then we get to the chorus. So that just starts with an A major chord, and you're going to want to do that with a bar with your index finger. So you have a bar across the 2nd fret of the B, G, and the D with the open A. And then we're just going to move and add, instead of the open A, it's going to be the 4th fret there on the A string. You can play that with your 3rd finger or pinky. So this. Then it just goes to a simple D major chord, and on top, just kind of, mimicking the horns there. We're just. I'm just going like this. I add the 3rd fret of the high E string, back down to 2, and then the open high E string, and then kind of accenting this B string. Then back to the 3-2 on top. Back to the same chords, A. So you do that the second time around. When you get to that D, you do that 3-2 melody on top, and then jump real quick to an F sharp dominant 7 chord. So that's just like a regular F sharp major chord we did earlier, but just lift up the pinky. I'll put that note in there. And then we're back to this. Alright, so it kind of does the exact same B riff there, just from that B to the C sharp minor to the F sharp with the bass line in there. And then of course we have that same ending that takes us back to the chorus. And now a little bit later in this song, as it goes through the pretty much the last chorus, where it's in A, it does that D and does that F sharp 7 chord. Then it moves the chorus up a whole step. that's just a B major chord, however you want to play it. And then that same chord we were playing here with the 4th fret there on the A string, with the A major chord on top of it. It's first inversion A major chord. It's the same chord, move it up 2 frets. So that comes from that B major. And then to an E major. Instead of that D, it's an E major. Now if you wanted to, that little melody there, it just ends on a B major chord. All right, so obviously, amazing song, but some challenging chord changes. Got to be good at bar chords, and you got to be able to move around pretty quick if you want to keep those bass lines moving. But hopefully, it'll really help you with your chord grips. Just be able to jump and just grab that as just like kind of a grip in the hand instead of having to think about all the notes. It'll be a good little exercise in learning how to do that. All right, I hope to see you guys again soon. Bye-bye.